Hello guys, my name is Glermit and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Krayt Dragon raid. Whilst we still don't know the date the raid's going to come out, we do know the road ahead is likely going to be the end of next month, so that is when the majority of the information will come. However, I know a lot of you are going to be hyped for the raid and a lot of you are going to be worried for the raid, and both sets of people, both those of you who are hyped and those of you who are worried, are going to want to be farming the teams in preparation. So what I've gone and done is I've been really thinking about the kind of team compositions for this raid. So to begin with, you can only use Tuskens, Mandalorians, Old Republic and Hut Cartel. You can only use the characters that were involved in the Krayt Dragon attack in the Book of Boba Fett. So because of that, you're limited by the teams you can use, and we're going to talk about later on a character that I think will have some sort of use. Maybe they'll just plug him in down the line. So to begin with, we need to think, are they going to add in any kind of raid heroes? I think that may be something we see down the line, a bit like territory battles, but this is all speculation. Now in terms of what we do know, obviously we know the teams we can use, so we can start making teams of that. Now they've already said the raid is going to have one majority phase, but there's going to be kind of two ways to go about it. The first is going to be through teams that do debuffs, right? And those are the teams that set you up, and then you have teams that do damage. So we need to really work out what teams are going to be used where. Now, first off, we actually have the Old Republic team, and this one's really tough to go over because you've got Calf, you've got Mission, you've got Zalbar, you've got T3, and you've got Canderous. Although you could swap T3 out of here for someone else. And this is a very, very debuff heavy team. So if that is something where you want to support your teammates, maybe you go down this route. The only issue I see is, I mean, I did a video recently on teams to farm, and someone actually did comment, Glermit, I would have expected more Krayt Dragon teams. A lot of them just are hard to get, or they're just not really priority farm teams. I think this is going to be a very high debuff team. I think, unfortunately, Canderous would have to be in here. Although I do think Canderous being in here does help support the team a little bit more, but it is going to take away from those Mandalorian teams. But I feel like this is something we may look towards down the line. Now, there is always the question, are we going to see some new marquee characters? Are we going to see some new characters in general to support these teams? And my answer is most likely. Again, I don't expect the raid to come for a few more months. I expect it to be announced fully at the end of next month or the end of this month, and then have 2 or 3 months to prepare. And if that happens, I could very easily see something like that happening. I could even, and this is very, very high speculation, guys, so don't quote me on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have some sort of conquest integration with some sort of character coming to boost the faction. If I had to guess, I would say Old Republic, because we've already had the Sith Empire booster, and that was a year ago with Malgus. I think it's about time we get the Old Republic one. So then we actually have the Old Republic Jedi team. Again, this is not really a debuff heavy team, so this would probably be one of the damage teams. You have debuffs in Jedi Revan, but the rest of them aren't really dealing debuffs. And the problem you're going to see here, guys, is you just don't have the last character. Now, I actually left this as a new section, the Old Republic droids, but there is an argument that we may actually see Shorty, should I say, in this team. The problem is I just don't really see it doing too much. I mean, we have 4 Jedi. I mean, I think it's just screaming for that last Old Republic Jedi to really take this team to the next level. I honestly think the top team here, whilst it's a bit of a slog to get up and running, I honestly think this may be one of the better teams, and we will be testing it out. Don't worry, guys, we're going to be taking all these teams to Relic in preparation for the raid. I think this team's honestly going to be really, really strong. I don't know about the Jedi Knight Revan team, and I also don't know if it would even be worth putting Jedi Knight Revan in one of the top teams, because I think it takes away the whole synergy from Dots, and this team is very high on that. So I'm not really sure about the Old Republic Jedi, but I know it's one that a lot of us have farmed up. And for that reason, we have to obviously account for it. Now, the question is, who's going to be the last character? Is it going to be Shorty? Is it going to be T3? I don't know. I think there's definitely going to be something we can do, though, in this Jedi team. And then we're going to move on to Mandalorians. And this one was really hard to do. And it's, again, why it wasn't in the teams to farm. Because, let's be honest, guys, this is probably going to be the best Mandalorian team. Without taking away from these teams up here, that doesn't have more. If you don't have more, then you're kind of not going to have the best characters here, and it's kind of hard to go over. So The best, in my opinion, the best Mandalorian team without Maul is going to be Bo-Katan lead, Mandalorian, Jango Fett, Sabine, and Armorer. But really, you do want Maul in there. But again, Maul is such a long farm. Unless you're close to him now, or unless you already have him, the chances are you may still not have him by the time the raid drops. I mean, you're still looking at 12 months for the unlock. I know he's been proving grounds for a long time by now, but I don't really think it's too accessible. Obviously, if you have Maul, then I think you'd actually run this team, maybe substituting Beskar and Mando for Canderous. But like I said earlier, I still think Canderous is going to end up being needed for the Old Republic team to really make that good. Because remember guys, we only have a limited number of teams. So if we're going to be able to complete this raid, if we're going to be able to dominate this raid like each and every one of us want to, we need to make sure that we are actually balancing the teams accordingly. And in my opinion, we need to set it up. So I really do think maybe you don't need everyone to have this team up and running. Maybe you only need half the guild to have this. We'll find this out when the raid drops. But I really do think Canderous is going to have to stay with Old Republic. And then that means you just lose so much offense with this Maul team. Although you would still have Maul, Beskar, Mando, Jango Fett, Armorer, Bo-Katan, and then we actually have 2 left over, and they're going to be Garsax and Imperial Super Commando, who I don't see a use for at the moment. Granted, Sabine can also go in this team, and Sabine is one of those debuff characters. So you have Maul and you have Sabine who do debuffs. The rest of the team, and Jango, but the rest of the team aren't really debuff heavy. I think this is going to be more of one of those offensive teams. After that, we actually have the Tuskens. And honestly, guys, the Tuskens is likely going to be one of these teams that we see as a offensive team. The Tuskens already look really strong. I would be very surprised if they don't dominate in this raid. For the most part, I think Tuskens, like I said before, I think Tuskens are going to be a must farm. I really do. I think they're just too good in other game modes. Like, Maul Mandalorians are very good, but the thing is, Maul is the thing that's going to block you off. If you don't have him, it's not the best team to invest in. Old Republic, this one is just not worth investing in currently. Maybe the raid shows that it's actually one of the better teams, as I predict, and then maybe it's worth investing. And an Old Republic Jedi, most people already have up and running to some degree. So in terms of that, Tuskens are the best to invest in. We've kind of already covered that. But I think they're going to be doing lots of damage as well. With the whole momentum thing, there may be some things we can see there. That's only time will tell. Are we going to, when we get more raid information, are they going to say, oh, hey, there's actually raid heroes? Boba Fett, Jango, Beskar, Mando, maybe Tusken Chieftain, and then all of a sudden these things change and teams adapt and overcome, right? So that's something we can talk about. And then down here we have the Hutt Cartel. I think this is obviously one of the teams to invest in. I think it's also got Jabba, so that's always going to be something for us to invest in. Sorry guys, the green screen is actually playing up a bit today. Obviously, Hutt Cartel is one to invest in. We all know that's going to be the case. Yeah, but Jabba just takes too long to farm. Like, unless you're farming him now, you may not have him in time for the raid. But in case you have Jabba, I think it's going to be this team here. I personally think Greedo is going to be in the starting lineup. And then I put this team as the leftover, just because Embo lead has the counter attacks. Honestly, I'm not sure about the Hutt Cartel. The only teams that I'm 100% sure are gonna blow the raid away are actually gonna be Old Republic up here, and Tuskens down here. I think the other teams are all gonna have uses, but I'm gonna have to take some time, and other content creators and even you guys watching this video are gonna have to take some time, work out the teams, and really develop the different teams. We are just so limited in the characters we can use. So my takeaway from this is get your Tuskens up and running. I think that's the team to go for. Just remember guys, we need teams that are debuff heavy and we need teams that aren't. And the teams that are debuff heavy, honestly, I hate to say it, Old Republic's the #1, other than obviously Jabba. But if you can get these teams up and running soon, then maybe we can be in a good spot for the Krayt Dragon raid. I would assume that we're going to see 1 or 2 marquees, maybe even a conquest character. I don't think so because of GL lifters, unless they kind of intertwine them and we see like a Maul scenario where we get a lifter who could be used in multiple places. But for the most part, I'm very excited for this raid. This is my kind of analysis on the teams. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. My name is Glum, and I hope you'll have a glowing day.